In a field where moon daisies glimmered and sun dandelions shone like tiny suns, magic seemed to float in the air, making every blade of grass sparkle with possibility. There lived a horse named Flicker, whose coat was as deep and dark as midnight, scattered with shimmering star-like spots that twinkled with every step he took. When the sun shone high above, Flicker's coat sparkled and danced with light as if he wore 1,000 tiny diamonds, and when the moon rose, his coat glowed with a gentle, silvery light, making him look like a piece of the night sky come to life. The other horses, with their plain brown and gray coats, kept their distance, whispering among themselves, "He shines too much, it makes us dizzy, he's just too different from us." Flicker tried to join their games, hoping to run and laugh with them, but he always ended up alone, his beautiful sparkling coat making him feel different and left out. Sometimes he would gaze at his reflection in a still pond, wondering why his stars made others turn away instead of drawing them closer. He found comfort watching fireflies dance at dusk, the only other creatures in the meadow who shimmered and glowed just like him. "Hello, little lights," he'd murmur softly. "Do you ever feel lonely too, shining so brightly in the dark?" But the fireflies just floated away on the breeze, their tiny lights drifting into the night, leaving Flicker feeling even more alone. So Flicker spent his days near the edge of the magical whispering woods, listening to the wind's secrets as it rustled through the leaves, and dreaming of a place where his stars would be seen as wonderful, not strange. He longed for a friend who would see the light inside him, not just the sparkle on his coat, someone who would understand his heart. Each night, Flicker would lie in the glowing field, gazing up at the endless sky, wishing with all his heart for someone who would truly understand him. And so, Flicker waited, his heart full of hope, dreaming of the day when a true friend would come and see him for who he truly was, both inside and out. One sunny afternoon, Flicker watched the other horses play, feeling lonelier than ever. A single, sparkly tear fell onto a dandelion as he made a wish. "Oh, whispering breeze, please help me find a true friend." The wind seemed to answer, swirling around him and blowing toward the whispering woods, parting the ferns to reveal a hidden path. Flicker's heart fluttered with excitement and fear. Should he stay in the safe, lonely meadow or follow the mysterious path? He remembered all the days spent wishing for a friend and decided to be brave. With a deep breath, Flicker stepped onto the shimmering trail into the woods. The air changed, filled with the scent of honeysuckle and magic. Light filtered through rainbow leaves, painting his coat with shifting colors. Each step felt like an adventure, and hope grew with every hoofbeat. Flicker's quest for a friend had truly begun. The path wound deeper into the woods, where trees formed a leafy canopy and sunlight sparkled in golden streams. Flicker paused in a grove of silver-barked trees, listening to their bell-like rustle, a magical welcome. He entered a glimmering glade where flowers glowed in sunset colors and butterflies with stained-glass wings danced. In the center, a crystal-clear pond reflected his starry coat, brighter than ever. For a moment, sadness returned. He was still alone, even in this magical place. But he remembered his wish. He was searching, not just wandering. Flicker drank from the pond, feeling his spirits lift. Refreshed, he followed the path downhill, the air cooler and the woods alive with new sounds. He heard tiny feet scuttling and a distant owl's hoot. The forest was full of creatures he'd never met. Somewhere among them, his new friend might be waiting. Flicker pressed on, determined to be brave and say hello when the time was right. The journey was just beginning. Flicker was wandering through the quiet green forest when he suddenly heard a grumpy voice grumbling behind a mossy rock. "Harumph! Fiddlesticks and fluff!" The sound was so unexpected that Flicker nearly jumped out of his hooves. Curious and a little concerned, Flicker peeked around the rock and discovered a badger in spectacles and a tweed waistcoat, patting the ground in frustration. The badger's nose twitched as he muttered to himself, clearly upset about something important. Flicker cleared his throat politely, trying not to startle the badger any further. "Excuse me," he said gently, his voice soft as a breeze. The badger jumped in surprise, dropping his magnifying glass with a little clatter. "Good gracious, you're all sparkly. Don't sneak up on a badger doing important research," he exclaimed, his whiskers quivering. Flicker's ears drooped in apology. "I'm really sorry, I saw you were looking for something. Maybe I can help?" he offered, hoping to make things right. The badger, who introduced himself as Professor Hoot, let out a long sigh. I've lost my favorite acorn-shaped button. It's very special to me and I'll never find it in all this thick, tangled grass," he said, his voice heavy with worry. Flicker thought for a moment, then had a bright idea. He stepped into the shade, letting his starry coat glow softly, casting a gentle light that illuminated the ground all around them. The forest floor sparkled with new possibilities. "Maybe my light can help you see it," Flicker suggested, his voice filled with hope and kindness. He wanted nothing more than to help the grumpy badger feel better. Professor Hoot's eyes widened in amazement as the ground lit up beneath Flicker's glow. He had never seen anything quite like it before. The badger began searching again, this time with hope returning to his face. The light made it easier to spot every little detail among the leaves and moss. Flicker's gentle light revealed hidden details among the moss and leaves. Tiny pebbles, curled ferns, and even a glimmer of something shiny tucked away. For the first time since they met, Professor Hoot smiled, his eyes twinkling with gratitude and relief. Flicker realized that sometimes being different could be a wonderful gift. His glowing coat, which once made him feel out of place, was now helping a new friend. He felt a warm glow inside, brighter than any star on his coat, as he watched Professor Hoot's happiness grow. And as Flicker gazed into the forest, he wondered if this was the start of a wonderful new adventure, and maybe, just maybe, a lasting friendship. As Flicker's gentle glow lit the mossy ground, a sudden flash of red fur zipped down the old oak tree, catching everyone's attention with its energy and speed. A lively squirrel with a white-tipped, twinkling tail landed nearby and chattered, "What's all this commotion? A glowing horse and a grumpy badger, right in my favorite part of the woods." Squeaky, the ever-cheerful squirrel, scampered closer with a mischievous grin. "Lost something, Professor? Was it your sense of humor again, or maybe your patience?" Flicker couldn't help but smile at Squeaky's playful spirit. The squirrel didn't seem to mind his shimmering starry coat at all. In fact, she seemed delighted by it. "He's lost his favorite button," Flicker explained gently, his voice warm and reassuring, hoping Squeaky could help. "An acorn! I'm the best acorn finder in the woods," Squeaky declared, her eyes sparkling with excitement as she darted around, searching under leaves and between roots. She searched eagerly. Not a button, not a pebble, aha! Until she finally spotted the tiny acorn-shaped button nestled beside a mushroom, almost hidden from sight. With a triumphant squeak, Squeaky presented the button to Professor Hoot, bowing proudly as Flicker watched with admiration. The badger's grumpy face softened into a grateful smile. "My button! Thank you, Squeaky! And thank you, Flicker! Your light really did help me see." For the very first time, Flicker saw the badger's stern face break into a genuine, heartfelt smile, and it warmed his heart. Squeaky beamed with pride, and Flicker felt a warm happiness spread through him, brighter than any glow he'd ever given off before. He realized he had helped someone in need and, in doing so, had met a cheerful new friend who brought laughter and lightness to the forest. Maybe, just maybe, he was finally finding what he'd wished for all along, a sense of belonging and true friendship. The three of them laughed together, their voices echoing through the trees, and suddenly the woods felt much less lonely and much more magical. Flicker's journey was changing, one friend at a time, and with each new friend his world grew brighter and more wonderful. Professor Hoot sewed his button back on, and Squeaky chattered about her finding skills. Flicker explained he was searching for a true friend, and Squeaky chirped, "We can be your friends." Professor Hoot warned, "The path splits ahead. Take the middle one to stay safe." Flicker thanked them and continued, heart lighter than before. Soon, he reached the forked 3 shadowy paths, all nearly identical. "The middle path," Flicker whispered, but in the dim light he wasn't sure. He chose the friendliest-looking path and walked on. The trees grew thorny, the path muddy, and strange sounds echoed. Flicker realized he'd chosen wrong. He was lost. He tried to turn back, but the way had vanished. Alone in the darkest part of the woods, fear crept in. His starry coat seemed to dim, swallowed by the shadows. Flicker stood frozen, not knowing what to do. Flicker's light faded in the heavy darkness, fear pressing in. He let out a trembling whinny, wishing for home. Suddenly a tiny light appeared ahead, a little star bobbing along the path. Hope fluttered in Flicker's chest. He trotted closer and heard a cheerful voice. "Flicker, over here!" Squeaky appeared, holding a lantern made from a firefly and a dewdrop, with Professor Hoot perched on her shoulder. "We thought you might get lost," Squeaky chattered. "A friend doesn't let a friend wander off alone," Professor Hoot said. Relief washed over Flicker. They had come back for him. They called him a friend. Flicker's coat glowed brightly again, pushing back the shadows. The woods felt less scary with friends by his side. Together they found their way back to the path. With Squeaky's lantern and Flicker's glow, the three friends easily found their way out of the dark woods. Squeaky told stories, Professor Hoot pointed out glowing mushrooms, and Flicker felt a wonderful sense of belonging. At the fork, Professor Hoot pointed to the safe path home. Flicker saw the sun dandelions of his meadow ahead, but felt a pang. Would his friends leave now? Squeaky scampered onto his back. "Don't look so sad, Flicker. We want to see your meadow." Professor Hoot nodded. "We should make sure you get home safely. That's what friends do." Flicker's heart soared. They weren't leaving him. He realized true friends walk the path with you, help when you're lost, and share in your adventures. "Thank you for being my friends," Flicker said, his voice thick with happiness. He promised to always be there for them, just as they had been for him. Together they headed home. Flicker trotted into the meadow, Squeaky on his back and Professor Hoot by his side. The other horses looked up, surprised to see Flicker with friends. His coat shone brighter than ever, happiness lighting every star. Flicker showed his friends the sweetest clover, the babbling brook, and the shady willow tree. Squeaky chattered with delight, and Professor Hoot took notes on the moon daisies. They played until sunset, joy filling the air. As night fell, Flicker's coat glowed, mirroring the starry sky. Fireflies danced around them, their lights twinkling in time with Flicker's. The other horses watched, no longer whispering about his strangeness, but about his happiness. Flicker knew now, being different was beautiful, and true friends love you for exactly who you are, sparkles, stars, and all.